Welcome to our show, Hong Kong Brief. Today, we have some exhilarating stories lined up for you. First up, Hong Kong's own Edie Hu has made waves by breaking the record for the fastest swim across the Oresund Strait, a 20-kilometer stretch between Denmark and Sweden. She completed the swim in just over 5 hours, smashing the previous record by 54 minutes. Hu attributes her success to the near-perfect conditions and has her eyes set on attending the Paris Olympics to support the Hong Kong team. What an inspiration for us all! Next, the Hong Kong Observatory has issued a number 1 typhoon warning as a tropical depression approaches Hainan Island. This signal is expected to remain in force until at least 5 p.m. on Sunday, with a possible upgrade in the evening. The public is advised to stay away from the shoreline due to sea swells and avoid water sports. The depression is expected to intensify slightly and make landfall over Hainan Island by Sunday night or Monday morning. Stay safe and keep an eye on the updates, everyone. Lastly, for those of you with a taste for adventure, Walk Japan has launched an exciting new walking tour that follows the historic escape route of Samurai Ryoma Sakamoto on Shikoku Island. This cultural trek takes you through mountainous areas, ancient temples, and even a sake brewery. It's a unique opportunity to step into the shoes of a samurai and explore parts of Japan rarely seen by foreigners. Sounds like a perfect blend of history and adventure. Please stay tuned for detailed coverage on these stories and more. Thank you for joining us on Hong Kong Brief. South China Morning Post, Hong Kong open water swimmer Edie Hu has shattered records by becoming the fastest person to swim the Oresund Strait between Denmark and Sweden. At 49, Hu completed the 20 kilometers challenge in just 5 hours, 10 minutes, and 18 seconds, besting the previous record by 54 minutes. Setting off from Bellevue Beach north of Copenhagen, she reached Barsbäcks Hamnkrog in Sweden thanks to near-perfect conditions, with strong winds pushing her along and water temperatures hovering around 17 to 18 degrees Celsius. Hu fell in love with open water swimming after moving to Hong Kong in 2007, has already conquered 3 of the ocean's 7 challenges. Her next adventure? Cheering for the Hong Kong team at the Paris Olympics, where she has tickets for several swimming events. "I'm turning 50 next year," Hu said. "I'm not sure what else I'm going to sign up for, but I want to get some sun and hopefully do an open water swim somewhere." South China Morning Post, the Hong Kong Observatory has announced that the number 1 typhoon warning will remain in effect until at least 5 p.m. on Sunday, with the possibility of an upgrade later in the evening. The tropical depression, currently situated about 720 kilometers south-southwest of Hong Kong, is moving northwest towards Hainan Island at a speed of 14 kilometers h. The depression is expected to intensify slightly and make landfall over Hainan Island by Sunday night or Monday morning. Its outer rain bands have already started affecting the Pearl River Delta, bringing occasional strong winds and squally showers to Hong Kong. Residents are advised to stay away from the shoreline and avoid water sports due to sea swells. The weather on Sunday is expected to be mainly cloudy with a few thunderstorms, and temperatures ranging between 28 and 32 degrees Celsius. The unstable conditions are predicted to persist until midweek. South China Morning Post, in Kochi, on Shikoku Island, a group of walkers gathers beneath towering statues of Bakumatsu period samurai, ready to follow the historic escape route of Ryoma Sakamoto. Led by Walk Japan, this trek crosses the island's central mountains, retracing paths used for salt trading and by Sakamoto during his legendary escape from feudal overlords. The journey begins with a drive into the mountains, where volunteers from the Salt Road Support Group guide them through revived sections of the old trading route. The group navigates steep forests, passes ancient tea houses, and enjoys meals of forest produce in bamboo bento boxes. Along the way, they encounter local traditions and historical sites, including Chikurenji Temple and Kengo Kuma-designed structures in Yasuhara. The trek culminates in the final pass, 99 switchbacks, leading to Ehime Prefecture. Here, the walkers visit samurai-era houses and reflect on Sakamoto's brief but impactful campaign for imperial restoration before his assassination in 1867. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong is making a significant push into the tech industry, driven by the global focus on industrial policies from major economies like the US and China. The US has introduced the CHIPS and Science Act and the Inflation Reduction Act to boost semiconductor manufacturing and green initiatives, while China has invested heavily in strategic industries, including a $47.5 billion fund for semiconductors. Hong Kong, traditionally a service-oriented economy, faced a wake-up call during the 1997 Asian financial crisis and again during the 2008 global financial crisis, prompting a re-evaluation of its economic strategies. Despite the establishment of the Innovation, Technology, and Industry Bureau in 2015, progress has been limited. However, recent efforts include ambitious land reclamation projects for tech parks and a 62 billion Hong Kong dollars fund for tech enterprises. The government is also attracting talent through streamlined entry procedures and the Top Talent Pass scheme. The success of these initiatives will depend on market uptake and effective execution. South China Morning Post. Hong Kong patients are increasingly seeking medical treatments in mainland China due to shorter waiting times and lower costs. Retiree Donica Liu, for instance, travels to Shenzhen for cancer medication that costs significantly less than in Hong Kong. This trend has accelerated since the reopening of the border post-COVID-19 and encompasses not just low-income residents but also middle-class individuals. The overwhelmed public medical system in Hong Kong, with waiting times stretching into years for some specialties, contrasts sharply with the more accessible and affordable healthcare options across the border. Institutions like the University of Hong Kong, Shenzhen Hospital have become popular choices, supported by healthcare vouchers and increased advertising. This cross-border medical migration highlights the need for better integration and support between Hong Kong and mainland medical services, including potential policy changes to lower drug prices and improve accessibility. South China Morning Post. Renowned Chinese economist Wu Xiaoqiu has emphasized the critical importance of external demand for China's economic growth, cautioning against relying solely on domestic consumption. Speaking at a forum in Hong Kong, Wu highlighted the need for China to adopt new market standards and further integrate with the global market to revive public confidence. Despite achieving 5% growth driven by exports in the first half of the year, China's economy faces challenges such as sluggish domestic demand, a downturn in stock and property markets, and high youth unemployment. Wu pointed out that the low confidence among residents is primarily due to an imperfect legal system and excessive bank regulations that infringe on privacy. He stressed that a sound rule of law, combined with a modern market economy, is essential for China's continued economic prosperity, rather than frequent policy adjustments. Wu's comments have resonated widely, reflecting public dissatisfaction with current economic policies and practices. South China Morning Post. Generation Z in Hong Kong is grappling with a mental health crisis exacerbated by the pandemic, academic pressures, and social media stress. Many young people feel isolated, despite being connected online. Vivian, a youth ambassador for Mind HK, highlights the loneliness Gen Z experiences. Hainan, a 19-year-old advocate, created the Peace of Mind mental health group to encourage peer support and destigmatize mental illness. Edie Hu, a wellness influencer, uses her social media platform to share her mental health journey and promote open conversations. Both Gon and EU emphasize the importance of community and resilience in overcoming mental health challenges. SCMP opinion, the third runway at Hong Kong International Airport is set to be fully operational by the end of the year, aiming to solidify Hong Kong's status as an international transport hub. the government is pushing for full capacity utilization, despite Cathay Pacific's delayed recovery. Authorities are incentivizing other airlines to fill the gap, with subsidies for new routes. This expansion is part of Beijing's 5-year plan and the Belt and Road Initiative. The additional runway will significantly increase passenger and cargo capacity, reinforcing Hong Kong's strategic importance in global aviation. SCMP opinion: as Hong Kong prepares for the Paris Olympic Games, a bureaucratic dispute in the local sports sector has come to light. Olympian Alex Fong criticized the Hong Kong-China Swimming Association for excluding talented swimmers from competitions due to club affiliations. Lawmaker Kenneth Fok intervened, leading to a promise of reform. Chief Executive John Lee called for pragmatic resolution and enhanced governance. The incident underscores the need for fair opportunities in sports, highlighting issues with long-standing rules and the allocation of public funds. The city must ensure that talented athletes are not hindered by red tape. South China Morning Post. Twister, one of the most iconic disaster films of the 90s, is officially getting a standalone sequel. While the late Bill Paxton, who played storm chaser Bill Harding in the original, is no longer around to reprise his role, his son James Paxton is set to make a cameo in this year's Twisters, starring Glenn Powell and Daisy Edgar Jones. James Paxton, who debuted in 2003's Spy Kids 3, Game Over, has been active in the industry for 2 decades. Despite initially wanting to become a broadcast journalist, he shifted focus to acting, working both in front of and behind the camera. He was a producer on 2018's Boogeyman Pop and 2019's The Orchard Girl. James revealed that his father was reticent about his acting ambitions, advising him to develop other passions due to the industry's challenges. However, James chose to honor his father's legacy by making a cameo in Twisters, a decision that was emotional and required time to process. He previously appeared as a younger version of his father's character in Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. The 30-year-old actor is also a musician and recently released his first single, Count on Me, which delves into themes of grief and coping, inspired by his father's passing. South China Morning Post. Lee Greenwood, known as Trump's favorite singer, performed his famous tune God Bless the USA at the Republican National Convention, RNC, in Milwaukee following an assassination attempt on the former president. Greenwood, 81, announced his retirement from tours in 2024 to spend more time with his 2 sons. Born into a poor family, Greenwood's mother worked multiple jobs to support them after his parents split when he was a year old. He grew up loving music and started his own band, working as a blackjack dealer by day and a singer by night. Greenwood found happiness with his 4th wife, Kimberly Payne, whom he married in 1992. His anthem God Bless the USA became a national icon in 1984 and has been a source of comfort to military families and played at significant national events. Greenwood's controversial Bible project, inspired by his song and promoted by Trump, has faced criticism as a symbol of Christian nationalism. Despite the backlash, Greenwood remains a vocal supporter of Trump, having performed at multiple presidential inaugurations and political events. With an estimated net worth of $5 million, Greenwood leads a relatively private life in his Tennessee mansion. South China Morning Post. Retirement advisor and former swimmer Thomas Nguyen is the first and only Asian American contestant on ABC's popular dating show, The Bachelorette. The 21st season, which premiered on July 8, follows Vietnamese-American student Jin Tran, the first Asian American woman to front the show. Nguyen and Tran bonded over their shared experiences as children of immigrant parents, with Nguyen sharing how his mother dropped out of pharmaceutical school to sponsor her family from Vietnam. Before retiring, Nguyen was a professional swimmer representing Vietnam and pursued the 2016 Olympics until a rotator cuff injury ended his career. Currently working as a retirement specialist and insurance agent, Nguyen made a great first impression on Tran with a pun and a bracelet bearing his surname. Tran expressed that their initial conversation was special due to their shared immigrant backgrounds, which allowed them to connect on a deeper level. Nguyen's journey on The Bachelorette continues as he proves to be a strong contender among the remaining contestants. The Sydney Morning Herald reports that Australians have become the second richest people globally by median wealth, thanks to a mix of financial and real assets. Luxembourg tops the list with a median wealth of $550,610, while Australia's is $387,176. Despite a lower average wealth ranking, Australia's wealth is predicted to grow significantly, with the number of millionaires expected to rise by 21% over the next 4 years. This surge is largely driven by property and superannuation. However, the report also highlights a dramatic increase in debt, especially in the Asia-Pacific region, which has grown over 192.2% since 2008. This raises questions about the sustainability of such wealth and the risks associated with high levels of debt. The article suggests reconsidering financial goals to focus on tangible outcomes rather than just aiming to become a millionaire, as economic conditions can rapidly change, leaving individuals exposed to financial risk. The South China Morning Post reveals that Hong Kong is set to boost its economy and tourism by inviting mainland Chinese influencers to live stream from the iconic Temple Street night market. A new agreement between the Yau Ma Tei Temple Street Association and the Dongmen Chamber of Commerce in Shenzhen aims to link Temple Street with Dongmen Pedestrian Street. Influencers will regularly visit each other's commercial hubs to promote local attractions. This initiative kicked off with street dancers from Shenzhen performing live on Temple Street, attracting both onlookers and online viewers. Local vendors hope this collaboration will revive business, as tourism has been slow to recover post-pandemic. The Hong Kong Tourism Board reported a significant increase in visitors in May, but numbers are still below pre-pandemic levels. The initiative is expected to draw more tourists from the mainland, boosting local businesses and preserving cultural heritage. In another article from the South China Morning Post, Hong Kong tech experts are urging companies to diversify their cloud services following a global IT outage that disrupted numerous businesses and air services. The outage, caused by a software update from cybersecurity provider CrowdStrike, affected Microsoft Cloud services and led to flight cancellations and delays worldwide. Experts like Francis Fong Pakiu recommend using multiple cloud platforms for redundancy and load balancing to avoid over-reliance on a single provider. They also advise having backup systems and contingency plans in place to mitigate risks. The Hong Kong Computer Emergency Response Team noted that the impact in Hong Kong was less severe, affecting only specific versions of CrowdStrike's software. IT industry veteran Joseph Leung Weifeng suggests maintaining local copies of data and applications to ensure continuity during such disruptions. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Turn on the TV screen, see the world unseen. China's on the news tonight. History in the spotlight. Scroll through my phone again. Find out where to begin. Stories from the east to west. Learning from the very best. News in China every day. Learning in a fun new way. From the cities to the farms. Feel the heartbeat, feel the charm. Ancient tales in modern times. Mountains high and river rhymes. Culture rich in every town. Golden driving never down. Every headline a new friend. From beginning to the end. Connecting hearts through every word. China's story always first. News in China every day. Learning a fun new way. From the cities to the farms. Feel the heartbeat, feel the charm. Every headline a new friend. From beginning to the end. Connecting hearts through every word. China's story